No.
All right, everybody be quiet. Hit that button. Recording live from the E. Haley Memorial Studios, straight out of Elmont, Ontario, it's time for This Death Clock Has 60 Minutes, your one and only weekly Warma Hordes news broadcast. It's 8 p.m. Wednesday night, the beers are cold, the news is fresh, and the death clock starts now. Good evening, everybody, and welcome back to the Death Clock. It has been a good solid week, but everybody got either distracted or sick this week. So this was one of those. Literally, I woke up this morning and I was like, "Oh crap!
It's Wednesday.
It's Wednesday.
It's Wednesday. Don't we do something Wednesday night?
I'm like, what am I going to do for dinner? And
Is that my shower day?
My whole podcast is
Fucking work at home.
no,
people.
that's the second Wednesday of
Every
month.
second Wednesday of
yeah.
every month.
Actually, there's
Bi-monthly.
I gotta tell you that then my the guy who the manager for one of the two gigs I do called me. He's like, "Come out to lunch," and I'm like, "Sweet." And I got up about 5 minutes before lunch, and I'm like, "Wow, I really stink." So, it was that Wednesday. All right. Anyway, I got to leave all that stuff behind. So we got a big show for you guys tonight because there was some interesting news that came out of Privateer Press today via the Insider. There was also a really cool Insider that came a couple days ago that everybody got pretty excited about. And we got good old Mac McWinters here to talk to us about dude spam. We're going to talk about dude spam.
You're just going to keep doing it?
Matt, what did I do wrong?
It's Summers.
Oh, Matt
McSummers.
McSummers, right.
Yeah.
It's Mac McSummers.
Yeah.
All right.
Hi, everyone.
Matt,
Or is it?
some of you are a longtime viewer of the show. We hang out all the time at cons and stuff, and apparently you guys have a secret WoW group you didn't tell anybody else about that you do with George. That you do with George.
Shame.
So tell us a bit about yourself and what you play in the old War Machines and how your week of War Machine went.
Hi, I'm Matt. Recently I've been playing a lot of Mercenaries and a lot of dude spam, I guess would be the most appropriate thing. So, about myself. I've been playing war games for a long time. And I'd like to think I'm not a complete potato at them. I try really hard sometimes.
You do all right.
I do all right, yeah. Win sometimes, lose a lot. Yeah, it's great.
So to quote one of our people on Reddit that watch or listen to our show, oh, so he's a reasonably average player in their local meta that they've invited on to ask advice from.
We love you, Reddit.
Hey,
Never change.
Hey, he's not in our local meta.
Yeah, I'm definitely not in the local meta. I'm actually, I don't know. I win a lot of events over in the Montreal meta. I'm a pretty big deal in my own meta.
Sweet. That's awesome.
Yeah.
All right, let's pass it on. Maelstrom, how was your week of War Machine? Did you get any games in?
I did. I got a game in last night.
Ooh.
Yeah. I played Ghost Fleet into Butcher 3. Top of 2, I managed to get Butcher 3 down to Defense 3. Armor 12.
Oh!
And then just loaded the ghost rifles into him, and it was game over.
After having, what's the name of the axe? The Lucy? What's it? I can't remember. Lola. After having Lola put into several of my casters' faces over the years.
You're not upset to hear
about that? I actually love that story.
Yeah.
I think it's one of my favorite War Machine stories ever.
So Tim Banky mentioned on the Crix pages a little tech with Denny 1 where if you get a arc node within 4 inches of a caster and cast a Scourge through it, even if you miss the roll, it's still going to hit because it can't deviate far enough.
Yep.
So the caster's automatically knocked down. Then you cast Parasite on that caster for -3 armor and feet.
Ooh.
So -5 armor
ghost.
swing.
Yeah,
and defense 5 or down to 3. So yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
That Def 7 caster behind a wall.
Yeah. Well, and that's the great thing. The Ghost Fleet shots are ghost shots, so they ignore cover and concealment. So
Dirty pool.
even though they're Rat 4, they
pool.
still only need snakes to miss.
I mean,
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, the problem against Butcher in that kind of situation, though, is that they're POW 10 base.
Right.
So, like,
You need
like,
to get the
unless you're-
Parasite and, yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, like, even with a parasite, like, and a feat, he's still armor 13. He's camping like 3 or 4 focus.
He was camping no focus.
No focus.
No focus.
What was this, like, turn 1?
He didn't
Top
say
of 2.
He didn't say he was a good butcher player. He
Yeah.
did this.
Yeah, top of 2. It was top of 2.
Sorry. There are no bad butcher players.
Yeah.
No, they're just bad people that play
They're just
Butch.
Bad people that play butcher. Yeah. But the worst part was the game before he had played a game against Sloan with Karchev, and he got top of 2 by Sloan.
Oh no!
Just all the shots right into Karchev, even though they were like dice off 5, and the amount of boxes Karchev has, he just took him off the table, top of 2.
So
Oh,
he's
my
like,
God.
man, I wish I had been in tier, or in theme, so at least I could have just killed an entire squad of Winter Guard instead.
Yeah.
Going over to George, did you get any? You didn't get a chance to get any games. That we don't need high detail as to what happened. But let's say that story, the story of the wedding where
I went to an amazing wedding with a handsome groom and a beautiful bride.
and then you had
And
A
we-
subpar
and-
caterer.
No, I wouldn't even say subpar.
Okay.
Let's just say the lobster was a bit off. The lobster
But
thermidor.
I didn't have any of the fish salad.
The lobster,
Salad.
the lobster thermidor may have been a bit off.
Thermal lobster, maybe. No, the actual event was great. I managed to give quite a little speech there that made a lot of people come to me later and say, so you mentioned this story in your speech, but you said you weren't allowed to say it out loud. You must now tell me this story.
Reasons why I don't ever let George have speeches at any of my events.
Yes,
There we go.
But afterward, I was introduced to all of the fluids, and that's all we shall say
That's
of that.
where we're going to leave it, right
Yeah.
there. So yes,
Use your imaginations.
Comedy
Or,
movies.
or
Do
don't.
not use your imagination.
comedy movies have been made of less plot.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, let's talk a bit about this week's news. Oh, my week of War Machine.
Yeah,
I didn't get a
yeah.
goddamn game in this entire week.
didn't?
We're going to have to rectify that.
I had I too have a sad story this week that does not involve a happy wedding. I had this is I'm going to send this out to everybody to remember that life is a little bit short, because this is a good time to remind everybody. One of my best buddies came over for dinner on Thursday night and died Saturday morning.
Ooh.
So one of those moments in life that gives you a little bit of a it's giving me quite a pause, but it meant that I took Monday night off. I didn't get a game in. Jason had invited us over to get some games in Saturday night. I was obviously not in the mood.
Not in the mood.
No.
So yeah, unfortunately, sometimes life gets in the way, and I'm back in better form this week. So
Try to squeeze a game in this weekend.
Yeah.
that is the plan.
Good stuff.
So let's talk a bit about some of the news that happened this week. We had an amazing, cool little tidbit that came out of Privateer Press this week. One is that Penny Arcade, the guys from Penny Arcade, who are way more famous than us on the internet
And funnier.
and way funnier.
And more attractive.
Really? I don't
No,
think
probably not.
Probably not. Anyway, they decided to give the old War Machines a try. They all play War Machine to a degree because
Yeah.
they put it in the comics.
Yeah.
But they played War Machine live. They did an event,
Yep.
and at the same time, they also released this really cool little short
And
cartoon.
I don't think the short was done by them.
It
From what
wasn't.
I
It was
No.
done. It was apparently fan done.
Yeah, it was a fan animation.
Denny versus Haley.
Yeah, it was awesome.
Yeah, it was very cool.
I totally loved. I really liked that they didn't use like Old Rowdy or somebody. They came up with a new character, Jack.
Who we'll probably see in a month
Yes.
or so.
Yeah,
just 'cause
exactly.
Everybody's going to love it.
One of the really interesting things that we have now seen that we have never seen before and never had described, because Privateer Press has actually been really careful about this, is we have now seen things from a Jack's point of view.
Yeah.
It's hazy and red.
Yeah, but what I mean is we're seeing. I always, when I'm talking, I always ascribe the sort of intelligence level of a dog to a Jack, and I think in this animation it was one of the first times we've seen that sort of intelligence level animated. The way the Jack moved and felt, just as a character in the world. But they have always been very careful to never let any of their writers write anything from the point of view of a Jack.
Well, most recently in Acts of War, the book about Stryker and Magnus taking back Lael, they kind of describe old Rowdy, you know, the oldest Jack in existence functionally.
Yeah.
And how he has the intelligence of a child and how he's even able to contemplate life and death.
Yeah.
So that's pretty cool. That's,
Yeah, I would
like
I would counter George what you're saying a little bit. I think in that one, as well as the last, not the most recent Kane book, but the one before, they do spend a lot of time. The way that Kane interacts through the brain waves with Ace is very well defined. Like Ace is super protective and kind of ornery about Kane, and I think that they made anyway. I think you're right that we've never actually seen a visualization. They didn't draw it out in the books. But,
Yeah.
We're not going to see that character, Jack.
Why?
Not after what that Slayer did to it.
there's been enough death of Jacks in the Iron. Well, all they need to do is get the Cortex back,
Yeah,
and they're
put
good
the
to
head
go.
back on.
There is that out for character Jacks.
I don't think that was actually a character. I think it was just an ironclad. It had nothing special about it other than a name.
I have a feeling, though, that they won't be able to do so. Anyway, so there was that, and you're looking at some cool bit of artwork for the special edition Sexy Reinhold.
Yeah, so it is sexy pinup model time, and it's kind of weird. This didn't start as sexy pinup model time. Like if you go back and see the kilt lifter, which was I think the first one of these models.
You're saying the kilt lifter wasn't sexy?
Oh, I thought we were talking about the little guy.
Oh, there we go.
Kilt lifters, damn sexy. No, but it has become sort of the time when the sort of pinup model is released, and this year of all, it really sounds like it was a bet. Somebody's like, yeah, what's the unsexiest thing from War Machine that we could possibly make into a character? Goblin, Gobber, Reinhold.
Reinhold is not sexy.
Yeah, what is
Rinny is
Rinny, on the other hand,
and is oozing sex appeal. Using her legs to get what she needs, I think that's where she gets that extra shot from. Bet you can't shoot a second time. I don't know. I always look forward to these because they always make really cool display models more than anything else. So the Thagrosh Painter of Everblight was one of my first big display models. So I usually pick these up just either to keep around for prize support or to become a display model, depending on whether I get the right inspirato on it. One of the other cool things that happened was there was a big change announced today to how the Iron Gauntlet is going to... the Iron Gauntlet is being thrown down in a completely different way, or it's gone.
Yeah, so basically, we got a lot of information today. We got the...
new ADR.
We've got the new ADR and the the big IG change.
Yeah.
Now, so Iron Gauntlet 2017 is the last Iron Gauntlet as we know it now. Mm-hmm. So the format where you do a certain number of rounds with your lists you bring in, then there's the stop and change your lists possibly, and then you're fighting with those.
And the only example
lists.
I've ever seen of the Iron Gauntlet is at the SOO, because it's the only big event that we go to that holds something like that.
That holds an IG.
IG is not traditionally done at most con level events. It's generally done at privateer press level events.
Well, the IG requires 100 attendees minimum.
Exactly. So it's one of those things that it kind of needed to die.
Yeah, well, so I think
the idea was good.
This is just a internal, like a supposition on my part. But
internal dialogue.
Yeah, but Privateer
George.
Press saw War Machine Weekend and went, shouldn't we be the ones deciding who's the best War Machine player because we're the ones who make the game? And so they tried to come up with a way to have an event that was literally the best of the best. Mm-hmm. And they wanted to make it, you have to be good at all of War Machine, not just good at two lists, was I think the original thought. And over time, we can see how that sort of devolved.
So 3 lists, and it needs to be painted.
Well, originally, there was all kinds of stuff, like they don't even have to be the same faction, right? Like it was supposed to be just, are you good at War Machine? And then over time, it sort of devolved into a weird Masters.
Well, and I hear you. I know what the original intent was.
And
I just don't think it was successfully done.
No, neither do I. So, as I said, the last of this style of IG is this year, 2017. So in 2018, what it's going to be is it's basically going to be an invitational. It's going to be a points event. So what'll happen is...
Yet another event we will never get invited to.
Well, you could earn 10 points, which I believe is the minimum required to get on the leaderboard. And so what you have to do is go to an event with 32 or more War Machine players. Now that's not hard. We're going to have at least between Montreal, Ottawa, and Kingston.
He's acting like it's not that hard for us to go to a single event.
Yeah, with 32 players.
There's one on Sunday. Get your fucking games in.
Not with 32 players.
No, that's true. But between those three places, between Kingston, Ottawa, and Montreal, there will probably be
he pooped himself all weekend.
three or four of those easily that you can get points at. And so basically what will happen is as you score high in these larger steamrollers, you'll earn points. And the more points that you get, the higher up in the total standings you'll be. And the top X number of people will have invitations to the big Iron Gauntlet finals at Lock and Load.
Okay, so that's huge. We also had the ADR kids.
Well, so here now.
His fault.
Yeah, I know. The pair of you are horrible at this. Matt. We were talking about this a little bit beforehand.
Let's go over to Matt McFall.
Since these two yahoos can't get out of their own way, you were saying that maybe having a worldwide standings is a trap because that's let's not make too big a deal of it, but this is sort of a like a stealth launch of a worldwide leaderboard,
which people have been asking for.
Machine.
Like people keep trying to start.
People have tried this for a long time, but it's there are problems with it.
Well, I think okay. So I think when we're talking about a worldwide leaderboard and the type of events you have to attend to get points on this board, there's a couple main issues that come to mind here. The first one being that going to conventions that have over 100 attendees is going to be the premier way you get points, right? So the cap you need is 32 people at a store-based tournament or a convention with over 100 people, 100 or more people. So we're talking things like the Sioux, Adepticon, TempleCon, and some local tournaments. I know in Montreal we don't really have 32, generally speaking. Especially
we cap
for
at
Masters.
about 24 to max 20, 28.
Max 20 something. Yeah.
Just because space, right?
Yeah,
yep.
totally.
Yep.
What this creates though is a problem where going to conventions is incredibly expensive. Right? Like we're talking staying at a hotel, buying tickets, buying food while you're there, all that stuff. It's traveling, and don't get me wrong, I go to a lot of conventions and I enjoy every single one I go to. But it creates a problem where once you're on a leaderboard, let's say you go to 3 conventions and you place first, second, third, and let's say that gets you 50 points, whatever. If you keep attending events, even if you as long as you top 4 it, you're going to stay in that top, and that creates a situation where the people who can't afford to go to multiple events won't be able to attend the Iron Gauntlet ever. Like, so before, if you went to the IG, you went to the qualifiers, which is like 2 or 3 over the course of a year, it's a 16-player cap. So unless you were dedicated, you weren't getting in anyways. But now this tries to incentivize people to like, hey, if you go to these conventions, maybe you can go. But it's really hard. Like we're talking like the players, like the top tier players that go to 8, 9, 10 conventions. They're going to be so many points ahead of the guy who goes to 2.
Yeah.
I think that's going to be a problem no matter what. I mean, I think you're at the point of how do you create a system or an invitational system that allows everybody in, or gives everybody equal opportunity, but at the same time does allow the best of the best to actually make it through.
No,
but it's a super tough. I mean, that's a really tough balance.
What happens if you drop it to 16 and just about any meta can field a 16? Like, I mean, that would be cool. That might be a big tournament in your meta, but I think just about every meta could sort of make it to a 16 man. Now, here's the problem. is 16 small enough that you can kind of fake it? That you can run?
And Matt May brought up the point of Magic the
Yeah.
Gathering where then you have people that are basically just points riding. They're like, hey, we're having an event for 8 people and only the new guys are invited.
Yep.
Yep.
So you got the opposite problem. Now, maybe 20 to 24 gets you into a standard steamroller situation where a small store can handle that kind of number.
I think 24 is a good number.
I don't think it's about the number of participants when we talk about a system like this. I mean, like, of course, 32 minimum is a lot. I know it's really hard for any local event, just space-wise, to have that.
Yeah.
No one wants to be, butt-to-butt with 32 sweaty dudes as they get angry at their
Speak for
dice.
yourself.
But I think I think the way Magic the Gathering approaches it is they're aggressive about trying to catch this stuff. And if you get caught like hosting these smaller events, you lose all your points.
Right.
But I mean, how do you with no press gang and no real way to organize it? Like, it's up to the TOs to decide how they're going to do the events, and that's really hard. It's almost like there needs to be a group of people that is sanctioned by the company and supported,
like a press gang.
Like a gang of people.
Like a gang that presses people into playing the game and helps organize tournaments and make sure that things are sanctioned and stuff.
and make sure that the people have a good time and the
Once
events
again,
are run smoothly.
Damn you, the people that sued Magic the Gathering, you dumbass.
Oh yeah, as always,
everyone.
everything goes back to this is Magic's fault.
Yeah, totally Magic's fault.
Now, do you think we'll start to see with this this announcement that larger metas that wouldn't normally push for the 32 people will start to? Like, I see this where it says 32 person tournament, and I think to myself, if I pushed relatively hard, I could do 132 person a quarter. Like, I could use CCBB, I could use Capital Gaming Expo, I could pick cons that happen in our area and push for 4 in a year relatively easily.
I think that's
now
doable.
I would have to advertise the crap out of it. I'd have to work my butt off to get people from Montreal, Kingston, and Toronto to come here to be able to fill in the numbers. But I think that with this as something that is a bigger deal, I think it might be be something to drive people.
There's a great point that incentivizes you to go back to running tournaments again.
Run bigger
tournaments again instead of running So here's the problem we have in the Ottawa meta. We have a tournament every goddamn weekend. That's awesome. But now
there's only one a month.
Really?
Yeah. Well,
okay. At one point we had one
every 2 weeks.
Seems like there's 2 a month now.
Anyway,
Yeah,
we got
feels
an
like
event.
that.
We got something
One
going
and a
on
half.
at the store every night of the week. Blah 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 blah. This makes you think more carefully about maybe doing a couple of bigger tournaments, and that might give some incentive to some of our top players to actually start coming out to tournaments again. Because of course we are losing some of our top players right now to other games, but they'll be back.
It's the summer slump. It's always going to happen.
Yeah. Okay.
Well-
So, sorry, Matt. Go. You can finish this up.
Oh, well, I think generally speaking, what makes War Machine a great game and makes people want to play is, the competitiveness, the tightness of the rules, and the community you play with, right? We kind of touched on this earlier.
Don't tell Souls that. Just
I think in general, that's what makes War Machine a good game and makes it enjoyable. If you want to talk about 30 plus member events, like the CCBB is a really good example of a great event. That I enjoy it, a lot.
Didn't you almost win that event, or did you win that event?
I finished second because I rolled 3 sets of Snake Eyes in a row.
Oh, you're blaming your dice.
No, he's blaming the tiny Italian he had to play.
Yeah.
Oh, you're playing
No,
Francesco.
let me explain this to you.
He's
There
not
was
tiny.
a Sentry
He's
Stone. There was a
adequate.
Sentry Stone, and I had a Nomad hitting it, and it's straight dice damage. I rolled Snake Eyes, missed it. Or no, I missed it with a Kelbalok shot, and then Nomad went in, and Snake Eyes damage, and then Snake Eyes damage again, and then I lost the game because 3 Snake Eyes in a row.
It's fair.
That'll happen.
All right. So we're going to leave this topic. Let's leave this topic behind. let's talk a bit about the ADR that dropped today. Because ADR dropped, and I think overall, it's weird. I think actually heavy metal might actually make the Signar players think about this whole thing differently than I thought.
Really?
But because on the Signar Facebook page, they were like, "Ooh, that looks maybe kind of interesting. Maybe that combo, but it'll be all in heavy metal." I'm not a Signar player anymore.
What? It's not Darius heavy metal and Charge of the Light Brigade with Striker? I would totally play that.
I think
Striker 3, all the horses. Darius, all the jacks.
I think they're talking about Beth and
Kane.
No.
You know the good ones.
No. Dominic there. Darius and
Maddox?
and Maddox is what people are combining. I don't see
know.
it. It looked meh to me.
Kane 3 is a good stand-in for Kara Sloan in a pairing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, the current power pairing for Signar is Haley 2, Kara Sloan. It's been for a while. Kane stands in for Kara Sloan beautifully, right? He solves stealth, he solves line of sight, he runs a charger spam super convincingly with his feet, runs the Hurricane super convincingly, and then you can pair that with any of the other 3 casters on ADR and have a valid infantry drop, have a valid control drop. Really, the one thing you're missing super hard is an answer to like extreme arm skew. But even Kane 3 can remove 3 heavies a turn on his feet.
Oh, why isn't he better with Mercs?
With Mercs? I mean, he's fine. I'm running him this weekend.
He's fine. It's fine.
It's fine.
It's no Kane 2. That's all I'm saying. All right,
Yeah,
so going down the list, Menoth. The Menoth players seem pretty happy.
We
Those
got
bastards
we got the
needed more
burning
things
itch.
to be happy about.
We got Fiora, High Exemplar
The
Krayos,
burning itch.
and Malachus, the burning truth.
The burning truth.
Sorry, I've just gotten used to
Can we
calling
use real names just for those
Why
not familiar with the burning itch?
Why start now? And Testament.
Yeah, I think
Old Quiet Pants.
Overall, looking at what people are excited about on the Facebook pages again, Menoth players pretty stoked overall.
Krios is in
Paulo
there.
seems to be like, yay! Moving right along, we got Kador.
So
Kador
just
is
so-
kind of meh.
Just so
Kador.
everybody knows, you've got your Battle Box caster. You've
Always.
got that new caster that just came out.
Yeah.
And 2 casters.
You can pretty much guess.
Yeah. So
all the ADR.
So we've got
There's not a lot of creativity in this ADR.
We've got Strakov and friends. We've got Colden Commander Zerkova. Is that 1 or 2?
That's 1.
That's 1? Okay, so Zerkova 1 and Irisk.
All right, Matt,
that's 2.
you look like you grabbed your head in like panic over Kador.
Oh, this ADR is insane. For those that don't know, I piloted Kador recently to like 4 tournament wins, and I did it with just basically pushing my models forward. This ADR is
Kador?
Legion of...
That's the list he gave me. Push my models
Yeah.
forward.
Yeah, this ADR is insane for Kador. You have a Legion of Steel caster times 3. Like, Zerkova 1 is insane right now. She's so good. And on ADR, where you can swap in and out like the Colossal, or, you can take out 20 pikemen and put in anything else from Legion, like Ulans, as an example, double Ulans. And then Strakov 2 does the same thing, and Irusk 2 can run like either Winter Guard or Legion of Steel. This is an incredible ADR for Kador.
So
We're gonna
nerf
see ADR.
Ulans is what we're trying to say. Just kidding. Well, and that's why this is honestly why we bring guys like Matt on, because
He knows what we're talking about?
no, I looked through what the forums are saying, because I don't play all these factions like I could if I had more time, but time slips away because I do a podcast that apparently eats half of that. And that's the thing, like, we don't really understand until you talk to somebody like Matt who actually understands where the metrics go.
Yep.
Moving right down into Crix. Jason, this is a great time to bring you back into the conversation a little bit more. You are far deeper into Crix than you should be.
Yeah, I'm really enjoying Crix. I
How's
don't know why. I'm according to the internet, I shouldn't be.
According to the internet, unless you're Tim Banky, you can't.
You can't.
It's
win
unplayable
shit.
trash.
Yeah. So there's Banewitch Agathea, who is the battle box caster. She's pretty straightforward. Morty 2, who I've only gotten one game in with, and it was that game against Texas.
And then all of her legs
did
fell off?
not go well.
That was so good.
No, they're holding up. Her legs are holding up.
Here's a little rule with Texas.
Yeah.
Just don't get within
like 20 inches of them.
of him and two
fucking wreckers.
Yeah, don't 20 inches is a bit much, but just stay the hell out.
But Morty seems really good, I think. And with Morty 2, I think a little bit more time into her. I think she'll find her place in Crix, I think. Gorshade the Bastard is pretty damn good.
He just lost all of his clout with every Crix player.
Yeah, sorry.
Morty 2 is unplayable trash!
Sorry, other Crix players. And
Gatsby.
Asphyxius the Hellbringer is amazing. So it's a pretty good ADR for Crix, I think.
I mean, the one problem with it is there's no real Ghost Fleet caster.
There's no Ghost Fleet
There's
caster
no
on
Ghost Fleet. Well, then it's unplayable trash.
Crix is just going to have to figure out how to win ADR without Ghost Fleet. Sorry, guys.
Rhett, unplayable trash. Moving right along. Whole faction. Just give it up.
So you got Helena, triple Colossal on the red ADR,
Yeah.
and then Viros with 40 Halberdiers. It is a really good pairing.
Yes.
and,
that
and only
you-
$8,000 of models.
Yeah. But the good news is you can paint them in 35 seconds with some white spray paint.
That's how I painted my Convergence. And speaking of Convergence,
The same forecasters
Same
they always
forecasters
get.
they put every time.
hey, there's no Axis this time.
Oh, they switched it out with
swapped
Aurora. That's nice.
Yeah.
So, if you guys want to know something funny about the Convergence community, when this ADR came out,
There's a convergence community?
Quiet you.
yeah, there's all 5 of them.
Yeah.
When
Same amount as the casters?
Yeah, Justin and I are big people in our community.
they put up a group on the post on the group Facebook where they're like, "Why is Aurora still on the ADR?" and started flaming Hungerford, and then Hungerford even started flaming himself in it. Aurora on the ADR.
Because nobody plays Aurora. You got to assassinate me once with Aurora, and then I was like, oh, I understand that trick now, and it never happened again.
Well, no, you get to play Aurora once against every person.
right.
And then once they've seen her trick, then you just take Aurora off the board and you just never get to play that person with Aurora again.
All right. Mercs, got Kane, you got Cognifix Siphon, you got Shay, and you got the good Magnus. So
Good Magnus.
well, Magnus the Warlord is like, so the mistake everybody makes when they make their first Magnus list is they go, is it Traitor or Warlord? Is it Traitor or Warlord? Damn it, I don't know. I'll take Traitor. And then they go to the
that's
first
their
game, they're
mistake.
like, and then, that's the crappy Magnus. So I think, I'm going to try Shay and Magnus to see how that works out. Because
That'll be different.
Well, the booter spam's
You're still up on the booter spam.
the booter spam has not been nerfed yet. So,
Nope.
it doesn't exist. I don't know what you're talking about. No, the booter spam is good. You just need it to tick over.
What do you think about the booter spam, Matt? You look like you got a...
Matt's going to be like, it's unplayable
You're
trash!
scratching at the bit a little
What do you-
there.
I think the booter spam is fine. I think it's good. I brought it to a tournament once. It's fine.
That's
but-
what my wife says whenever I do something wrong.
It's fine. It's fine.
It's fine.
Not something.
It's just,
Love you,
Jason,
sweetie.
Am I doing it right? It's fine.
It's fine. Yeah.
it has a few really bad matchups. Like it's hard.
Terrible matchups. You need to drop it into the right thing. It's a great answer to other Jack spam as long as they can be knocked down. If you go into a Jack spammer, the worst matchup is when you're like, sweet, another Jack spam. I'm going to knock all your stuff down. And they're like, yeah, so none of my stuff can be knocked down for some reason that's on my card you didn't know about?
It was amazing when I'm playing Convergence into him. And it's like, yeah, so none of these heavies can be knocked down, and I brought 2 battle engines and a Colossal, so yeah, that's okay.
So go with your POW. Crap. Good luck with
Now
that.
13 versus 20? I can do this.
Anyway.
The highlight of the Mercs ADR for me is Kane and Magnus 2. I'm actually a really big fan of Kane 3, especially in SR 2017. Mage Sight is really good when there's a big forest in the center of the table. And you can just be like, oh, my Galleon walks up 5, sees over the forest. Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and hook in your Warp Wolf or whatever. And, I'm going to kill everything first and then pull it in.
Matt,
So
if you know me well enough, you know that I am the biggest Kane fan of all time. Kane is single-handedly the reason why I continue to play this. He got me through some dark times, man.
It's true.
It's true. True. He held my
true.
hand. I cried on his shoulder. It was good times.
Yeah.
I can't justify. I can't justify playing Kane 3. I will try. I will listen to the Zen prophecy of Matt McWinters, and you can tell me what it takes to be a good Kane 3 player, but I don't see it. I just don't see it.
Come to the tower on Sunday.
And you'll be like, I will train you, young Padawan.
No, I'm going to be playing him in my pairing on Sunday.
Right.
He's really good in SR 2017.
Yeah,
Like-
I mean, enjoy
when you get that
enjoy
line
being
of
middle
sight-
of the pack. It'll be really great. Go for a burger at 3:00.
But with SR-17, you with a lot of the terrain deployment, you always have that line of sight blocking piece in the middle.
Yeah, there's always something
that's
blocking
true.
in the
That's
middle
true.
of the table.
Well, the other thing about it being an ADR also means that you can swap out some key pieces in that Kane 3. Like you can have Thorn gun mages, but not rely on them as a key piece because you can. That's an expensive package to throw into it, and if they can just take out single point,
I can lend you Hellslinger, Kane.
Shut your face hole. That's the real Kane 3.
Strictly better Kane.
Strictly better Kane 3.
Costs less and is strictly better.
That Bilac started that. He wanted to know what Will thinks of Hellslinger Kane.
I think the big thing when you look at casters like Kane 3, because there's a lot of casters that are like similar power level, where his main weakness is that he's flimsy. So in a faction like Signar, where he can just hang back and allocate focus to chargers and not have to do anything besides like locomotion a charger up occasionally or move it back with locomotion, he feels really powerful. But in a faction where like Mercs, where you're allocating 2 to a galleon, and then hopefully killing some dudes with his guns, and then like maybe feeding and the galleon kills a heavy, like it feels way less powerful. But Mage Sight in Mercs is crazy.
Well, I think
Especially-
the opposition to that is I think Kane 3's biggest weakness is being part of a unit. There is so many times that you can get flanked and have some shit-ass spell tossed on you that normally Kane would be completely immune to. He'd be like, ha-ha!
But because it affects the unit.
But because it affects the entire unit, now he throws it on Ryan instead, and you're shit. Like, you've literally... having the whole unit things means that I've had to keep back those 2 key models to try to protect them when I shouldn't when I want to be using them to get those extra 3 shots.
Like a crippling grasp or
crippling grasp is a prime example.
Yeah.
Now that's part of that bad matchup thing that we talked about earlier.
Yep.
But anyway, this is what happens when Matt and I start talking Mercs is we completely override. Oh yeah, so
Were we doing a podcast?
Wait, ADR and stuff?
Jesus Christ.
Sorry, Matt. We'll move on. Well, you and I could talk about this after. We'll have like a long, deep, dark conversation.
Yeah, sounds good. Sounds good.
So moving right along, we've got there's this
Some trolls?
trolls.
Calandra.
I heard they're unplayable trash.
That's what Fraser says.
I mean, his ADR has the 2 best troll casters on it, so there's that.
Yep, totally good. So I mean, it trolls. I mean, let's.
I'm curious. Which 2 are the best?
Ragnar and Calandra. So, okay, Ragnar is really good.
stupid
He runs-
good.
Yeah.
If
Yeah.
with the right stuff, he's ridiculous. A POW, what, 24, 25?
25. You can get your Mountain King up to 25.
Yeah. Dumb.
But it's really his feet.
That's insane.
His feet is incredible, and, with immune to knockdown and the ability to dig in, he's pretty hard to remove, too.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Calandra's kind of
Calandra's
self-edited.
always good. But, anything that skews the dice that badly is always going to be strong.
Yeah.
The Calandra doesn't skew the dice. She fucking skews me, man.
Yeah.
Like, when I have to play against Calandra and I have no idea what the probability curve is going to be anymore, it's like, pick up 17 dice. Now roll 6 of them. Now hold 4 of them on your head. Now put 3 of them over here and re-roll the 2 that you rolled earlier.
So, backstory to make everybody understand why G is so scared of Calandra. that is the caster his wife plays all the time. And
I may have a little
it
PTSD
is
about
kind
this.
of the embodiment of his wife as well.
Yes.
Like if you see Calandra, the like when I look at Calandra, I'm like, oh, it's Becky
Yeah.
on the table. So you immediately are like, oh crap, I don't want to hurt my wife.
She's coming this way.
If
kill
you
me.
guys want some interesting tech with Calandra,
Yes.
To kill her?
the new Sea King Gargantuan that came out places water. Water gives Earthborns +2 defense.
Ooh.
So they become defense 14, and if they're by a wall in a stone, they're 14-22. And then you put Starcrossed, so now they're 14-22, immune to knockdown and all
Under
elemental
Starcrossed.
damage, and Starcrossed.
Oh my god, that is
They never die.
that is
Interesting.
nasty. You were complaining about the
tech.
Texas Raiders.
I have PTSD for Texas Raiders.
Yeah.
All right, so moving right along, going into the circle.
Yeah.
They got Kaya and they've got Tanith, and I mean it's and
Brad
yeah,
again.
Brad is back, but is anybody playing Brad right now?
No, unfortunately.
So I
He's
love
so
Bradigus,
cool,
but
though.
I mean Bradigus is it was the reason I played Circle for a year.
Yeah.
But I mean we'll let the Circle players talk about this. I'm looking at this one. I'm giving it a meh.
Giving it a
Unplayable
meh?
trash.
Meh is unplayable trash now.
Yeah, this. No one will be playing ADR.
No.
No. So for Scorn, we have Zakar, the worst caster ever.
In your humble opinion.
Pimp Master Morgul. And then we
Yes, the
got
Pimp Master.
Mordekar and Hexeris. Interesting.
What do you think
No
about
one
those,
was playing
George?
it.
You played Scorn for like a month. How
I don't.
you
A month
auto
here,
admitted that.
and then a month there, and
I
then a
don't
month
see.
here.
I don't see a good pairing in there. Like I don't.
All
No
right.
one's gonna play ADR.
No,
No, that's you're at ADR. Okay, going over to Jason on the
Legion.
Legion guys. What do you think about? You gave this a meh.
I give it a 2 mez up. It's
Ow.
it's Carissa, who's pretty meh. She's a battle box caster.
Callus.
Her worst thing is she's just boring. Callus, who nobody seems to have cracked yet. He seems to have an interesting toolbox, but it feels like there's just something that's not in Legion yet that would really turn it on.
Also, the reason he married his wife.
Yep, yeah, that's true.
Lilith. Too.
Lilith 2.
Well, and that's like one of your favorite casters.
Let's bring Lilith 2 back, shall we?
Yeah.
I think Lilith 2
Is that
and
going to be your
Mark III
hashtag for
Yeah.
2018?
We're
Bringing Lilith 2 back.
Yeah, I think she's got a bad rap in Mark III. I think she's still really good, especially now that things are starting to even out with the
Wait.
Jack spam versus
Can we text
infantry.
JVM right now and ask?
Yeah, sure.
You should do
I got
that
him on my speed dial. So
before, yeah. You better do
and
that.
what? Abby won.
Abby 1, who is supremely meh.
It is really too bad.
And
There
one
are,
of the
there are a lot
ugliest
of really
And a
interesting.
supremely ugly model.
Yeah.
It's a chunk of lead. They
it's
could literally replace her with a half-melted chunk of
She
lead.
is fucking
With
awful.
2 arms.
It looks like somebody held a lighter to a piece of metal and just let it
It
drip.
looks like what it looks like straight up is it looks
Yeah.
like one of those old like first edition Dungeons and Dragons models.
Oh, exactly. Yeah.
That's
yeah,
like,
it's
"Hey,
bad.
I have power stabs.
Yeah, there's pretty much a weekly thread on the Legion Facebook page about resculpting Abby 1 because it's just, she's nasty.
It's nasty.
Hey, okay,
nasty.
so the cool thing that comes up next is we do actually have the new faction is represented.
Grimkin.
The Grimkin are in the ADR, which
It's
is
pretty artworrt.
It's pretty art.
Yeah, and
is
eventually
very
they'll be pretty models.
Moving right along.
Because none of us, maybe Matt, do you have an opinion on the Grimkin ADR?
Yeah, so
Heretic Child?
The Grimkin ADR is really good because they only have 5 casters.
Yeah, it's
they just
like Convergence.
They just left the best caster off the ADR. Old Witch 3
Yeah,
is definitely like hyper crazy powerful. If she survives her last iteration to live, she's gonna be meta defining.
what would you do, Heretic Child?
I would do King of Nothing and probably Heretic.
Okay.
Oh, they have 6 casters. Sorry, I forgot about the Wanderer. So he's not on there either.
Yeah.
All right, last but not least, we have not a faction.
Minions.
I mean minions. Minions, they're good.
They have gators.
But it's got Yaga and Helga on the
So-
same ADR.
So there you go.
This
That's
won't
some
be
stuff.
played on ADR.
No,
there's
it-
no RAS.
Minions?
Let's be honest. It's
Yeah, there's
minions.
no RAS.
It's not going to get played.
Wow, you are deep in the Minions.
Minions has a caster named Midas. I never knew.
Yeah.
What is this? Just a list of casters you've never seen Minions players?
That's what I'm trying to say. We get Matt on the cast. This is the funniest we've ever been.
Yeah, that might be because of the
rum.
amount of alcohol. All right, so we could move out of the news with 15 minutes
left. Oh my God, there's 15 minutes left. All right, let's talk a bit about dude spam, ladies and gentlemen.
So we bring Matt on to talk about dude spam, and then never actually managed to get there.
We actually brought Matt on because Matt's awesome, and we just like hanging out with him and chatting.
It's true.
That's true.
And the ADR chat was kind of awesome. So let's talk a bit about dude spam. Matt and
It's 8:45.
It's all right. It's all right. Well, if you stop commenting on the time, we might get to talk about it.
It's 8:46.
So three of us have played a lot of dude spam in the last little while. You haven't really had a chance to throw down.
You're all about the Jack
you're
spam,
all about
George.
Jack spam.
I got some
Thanks
dudes
to
over
Matt
there.
McOceans.
You got 1 8-unit, 8-man unit that you're going to throw.
It's actually
into some
two
lists.
6-man units.
Doom Reavers. I heard
So
that on
let's talk a bit about dude spam.
They are.
I've been playing. I'm playing all. I'm all in Texas right now because
Yep.
I just got
So
out
much
of
Texas.
I just got out of an all-in Osram, and until the Battle Engine CID comes to its completion, I won't be playing Osram for a while because I want to try Battle Engines when they become a thing. So I'm actually dealing with dude spam a lot. So what I thought we'd talk a bit about is what a dude spam is, because it's something that's very Mark II. We all played a bit of dude spam in Mark II.
Oh, heck yeah.
And then it disappeared from Mark III. And now themes have brought it back to a degree, in certain factions particularly. It started out really with mercs, with suddenly you saw dude spam in your Magnus lists, in your Kingsmaker lists, whatever Kingsmaker combo you had. It started out with Matt. For me, it started with Matt's Magnus 2 list. So I copied his Magnus 2 list and I started playing much what he played. And then people swapped it out for Damiano, and then it got ridiculous. But what? Let's start with what we.
I think we should go back and talk about the first one, because when Mark III launched, we got a dude spam list.
What was it?
Texas.
Well, Texas. Yeah,
It had to be because of the actual.
Does Texas have any other list?
No,
That's
here's the
what I
thing.
mean. Because
point-
in Mark III, they had to give him a theme force right away,
But that
or
was a
else
big-
he was unplayable, literally.
It was actually hard because with Texas and in Mark II, most of the Mark II players were still playing with like 5 wreckers. And then wreckers got super expensive all of a sudden. And we didn't know what to do. And a lot of people didn't own the rest of the dudes to do a dude spam with Texas. So, sorry, Matt, go.
I think the most important dude spam when Mark III transitioned over was IRusk 2 Doom Reaver spam. All the Mad Dogs of War players were like, oh, I can take, all the Doom Reavers. Was it 30 Doom Reavers, 35 Doom Reavers with IRusk 2? So they're immune to knockdown, immune to blast damage, defense 17, and just walk them into your army. That was, at least for me, that was the scariest thing I played in the transition to Mark III. As far as Thexus in the transition, I didn't really see dude spam until actually very recently, because everyone was running like 4 wreckers, 2 wardens, and a subduer, and like 2 units of guys or something.
Yeah, exactly. Well, it was what we had come out of Mark II with. It was what you owned, because you owned your Texas army, and you didn't want to invest another 8 days in painting and another $90 in units.
But it wasn't only just that, right? Like, you had to answer armor. Like, that was the big thing in Mark III, it's why dude spam wasn't super popular, is because, typically speaking, dudes don't crack 10 armor 20 jacks or 5 armor 21 jacks, because POW 13s mathematically don't do enough damage. So what ends up happening is, like, the theme forces, sure, they made dude spam more relevant, but the same factions that are dude spamming now are the same factions that have been dude spamming since the beginning, right? Like, Khador's still dude spamming, like whether it's rocket spam, and now with Legion of Steel it's pikemen, but pikeman spam was already a thing. Ghost Fleet is, Crix. Crix has always been dude spam. And like, what other faction? We have Cephalix. That's it, right? Like, there's is there
there was a bit of dude spamming going on in damn it. Why am I blanking all of a sudden? Scorn did that weird.
Oh, Immortals and Zal.
Yeah, the Immortals.
Well,
Yeah.
I would argue that may be Doom spam, dude spam, but that is literally how you play Zal. Like that.
Yeah.
That's
Right, but
not
that was,
you
but
can
that was,
say that about
but I would
Thexus,
say that's
too.
by design. It's the
Yeah.
same thing with Thexus. Is when
He's an
people went,
infantry
wait
caster.
a second, Thexus is no longer that great with Wardens. They're like, oh, dude spam.
I really think Zal is just missing half of the parts of his caster, which is all the immortals that go with him.
I think that the big thing when you talk about dude spam is you talk about that dude spam is basically broken down into 3 components: delivery, buffs, like so damage buffs, speed buffs, stuff like that, and then the late game. So the idea being that for any dude spam list to work, you need a delivery mechanism. For Zerkova 1, that's clouds and her feet. For Irusk 2, it's having 50 dudes that are immune to knockdown and tough, and immune to blast damage, so on and so forth. For Zal, it's arm 27 or 25 immortals. And then to make dude spam viable, you need a buff to be able to handle armor, because POW 13 non-buff things struggle. So like this is where Zal 2 struggles, because POW 13's on the charge is like 3 damage per guy to a Khador Jack. It's not impressive. And then the last step is the late game, where typically you have like 2 heavies, maybe 3 sometimes. In the case of Khador, you usually have like 3 heavies or a Colossal. And every dude spam list kind of follows the same formula, except for Ghost Fleet.
Yeah, Ghost Fleet is a whole different bag. Let's talk a bit about Ghost Fleet, because I think that changed dude spam, especially when people's dude spam ideas were Thexus before that, which is, or even Kingsmaker to a degree, where it's like, now I have a whole bunch of clouds. I walk up with my clouds. Now, oh no, you got a bunch of dudes to deal with.
Yeah.
Thexus was, how do I kill all those guys? I killed a bunch. Oh shit, there's still 80 of them left. But Ghost Fleet changes that. And how do you feel like you've been playing that particular list? How is that different as a dude spam? And let's talk about how to conquer it, because there's like a big fear.
Banky has said Banky because Banky's winning all the things with Ghost Fleet, so I'm just probably going to say his name like 1,000 times. He may even just show up and walk through the door. The problem with Ghost Fleet is the sheer amount of recursion. So because you have 3 min units, you get a D3 plus 1 roll on the recursion for each min unit every time.
So you're always getting at least 2.
You're always getting at least 2 per min unit. So you're looking at 6 plus the Black Bane and Ghost Raiders. You're looking at getting dudes back from there. If Black Bane kills things, he gets dudes. Rengrave, same kind of thing. He has the Deathbound rule as well, I think. So, I mean, it's just the sheer amount of recursion. You're looking at probably trying to kill at least 8 to 10 dudes just to try and probably get 1 or 2 off the table the next turn. A lot of people look at the incorporeal as a problem in that list. There's not that much that's incorporeal in the list. Black Bane and his Ghost Raiders. Some people only use a min unit. Banky himself only uses a min unit. And the Wraith engine, other than the free pistol race. I don't think magical weapons is the answer. I think RFP is the answer to Ghost Fleet, because if you can RFP, those things aren't coming back. Yeah. If you can RFP Black Bane, if you can RFP a bunch of each min unit, if you can get an AoE that has RFP on it, like the Starburst cannon on the Hyperion, you're just going to wipe out swaths of dudes that aren't coming back. So there's answers to it. The problem is you have to build specifically for answers to that.
Right, and I think that's what. But we've been doing this since the beginning. Since Mark III dropped. Back in Mark II, we built lists to deal with lists.
Yeah.
There were certain lists you knew you were coming.
Yeah.
And in Mark III is no different.
Yeah.
There's going to be lists that are tough. For a while, we're building for Bird Chick.
Tuna.
For a while, we were building for Khador arm spam.
Yep.
We're going to have things to deal with. And this is the new thing to deal with. And because nobody had been playing dudes for so long, or at least to a popular degree, it's just something that we weren't prepared for.
Yeah,
and
Crix kind of came out of the woodwork with that one. People just weren't
I
prepared
think it's
for
never
it.
going to be easy.
I can remember in the PG forums. No, in the actual PG forums.
Yeah.
When Ghost Fleet was released,
Right.
90% of people were saying how shit it was.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
And people
I remember
were
this.
so
Yeah.
angry about it
Yeah.
that Pagani dropped into the PG forums and said,
Play
okay, this might actually be the most broken thing that
Yeah.
I've managed to let slip out. Here is a list.
Yeah.
Just try this.
Yeah.
You go back
And
to
he
our
dropped that
podcast.
list, and people were like, oh.
If
oh,
you go back
Yeah.
to our podcast when Ghost Fleet dropped, if you go way back, Marc-Andre LeBlanc was on the cast. I remember this. Good thing I have
Yep.
memory sometimes.
Yep.
He said Ghost Fleet was broken, and then you
Yep.
told us about that. And this whole conundrum was, to a degree, predicted.
Yeah.
Anyway,
So-
so some of the things we're going to skip over quickly because we want to get to the trivia. The biggest thing about Dude Spam is if you're going to try to play it, you need to practice it. Particularly if you've never gone to a proper Steamroller event or with it, because it will screw you on time.
Yeah, you need to be ready to activate and activate fast.
Matt, you had a great point earlier, which is like basically learn how to measure your 10 inches and then move the whole unit forward, because that's really the key. Thexus is actually really easy because those dredges don't do anything until you're within 8 inches. You need to be in that 8-inch range, so it's a lot of like boop, 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 move forward, move forward, move forward. Again, I'm going to send this warning out to everybody. Spam is not necessarily the best way to go.
Yeah, I think a better warning would be do not buy spam.
Do not buy into spam unless you just
Don't spend several $100s on
to have this thing that's going to be the greatest thing ever.
Yeah.
I think play what you want is the
Yes.
best thing.
Yes,
True.
absolutely.
If that is the kind of game, like, I mean, I'm going to play Thexus. I want to play Thexus. I already own all these models. I'm going to try Dude Spam.
Yep.
But don't go if you are a new listener and you're like, oh, this is the only way to play. I'm gonna
not true.
I'm gonna go slap down $1,000 in paint for the next 8 days so that I have Dude Spam. I hate to tell you this, something's gonna change and your whole life will come crumbling down around you.
There's always that possibility.
Maelstrom, you bought into Dude. You kind of went all in on Ghost.
I got 2 min units for basically nothing.
Oh, so you're good.
I bought 1 full unit of Revenant crew, which is why I'm missing a couple riflemen because riflemen don't come with the min units.
They sell it on the privateer press
They
store.
sure
I
do,
just-
Matt.
Would you like to split on the shipping with him? Your models will be delivered in 32 to 38 days.
Weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when it all comes down and that Dude Spam changes, are you going to table flip or are you just going to be like, that was
No, I wasn't. The reason I was like, I could have went all in on Ghost Fleet months ahead of time, but I just wasn't that. I didn't care that much, honestly. Sure, I've played it a couple times now, and it's a lot of fun. It's kind of janky, and it feels weird to play, like I'm cheating, because I'm used to not playing
You're used
things
to
that are really good like that.
Cricks for the
Yeah.
last.
well, no, he's been playing Legion, so.
Before Oracles came out,
Have you met those friggin' Hellmouths? That's all I got. Yeah.
I'll tell you,
everybody's got
that
an
is-
answer for Hellmouths.
That
now.
is my favorite thing about
And
Oracles.
that took us like 6 months.
Yeah, my favorite thing about the Oracles theme list is
can't
that
have
I
Hellmouths.
haven't seen a Hellmouth.
Yeah.
Like I've seen one Hellmouth. It was in the last round of the tournament I came in second on.
Yeah.
And it was parked 4 inches from a goddamn repair objective, and it would not die.
No, because impervious flesh and repair.
It just would not die.
Yeah.
Okay, guys. Unfortunately, there's a million more things to talk about. We can talk about Dude Spam, and we probably will.
We probably should because
Tim,
we didn't tonight.
Well, we did a bit, but Tim is going to be on next week. And
Oh, yeah.
we'll get a chance to talk about Dude Spam more. I think we did. I don't know. Like, we can complain that we didn't talk about Dude Spam, but that was sort of our shot in the dark topic for tonight. And we got Tim Banky on next week, so let's talk about Dude Spam.
Well, we can
Then we can have a
definitely
real conversation
But
about Ghost
okay,
Fleet.
before so I got to beat Tim Banky next week, Matt. So what is my key to our answer? What do I take?
So there's two options. You can either just say, look, they're not going to kill all your heavies, take Karchev and 10 heavies, and pop your feet for magical weapons, remove anything that's incorporeal, and just grind the game down because they're not going to remove 10 armed 20 heavies. Play Sorsha 2 with Shatterstorm and just RFP everything. That's, if you want a hard answer, Sorsha 2.
Yeah.
Cool.
Wait, is Kane 1 like one person answer to Ghost Fleet?
Does he just jump up in the middle and kill everything?
No,
RFP is
pops
the
in
real
middle
answer
and
to
kills
Ghost
everything.
Fleet.
He dies to the assassination. Too
Oh,
easily.
right.
Yeah.
I was going to say, you can't RFP if there's nothing left in the unit.
That's the thing. Like,
Kane just kills everything.
Like, so he kills everything in like a.
Well, the
12-inch range.
problem with that is a smart Ghost Fleet player is always going to keep one
Right,
model
just keep
from
the
the
one
unit
back
at the
in,
back of the table.
That's why I'm not a smart player.
A lot of dealing with Ghost Fleet is just managing how many attacks they get.
Yep.
Like if they have 9 rifles a turn and that's it, you're not losing heavy jacks.
No.
So if you kill everything else that's in threat range and you push their whole unit back to the dude that's all the way in the back table edge, it's fine. Like, okay, you're not getting any charges. You're shooting me with 9 POW 10s, sure.
All right, ladies and gentlemen. George,
Is it?
hit that button. The lightning round. All right, so I did kind of a whole unit.
Ooh,
So
fancy
you're
town.
all going to need to remember your unit rules tonight's lightning round. Just go back deep into the vault of what I would like to play.
All I
unit.
play are jacks now.
Yeah, you
I
have
don't
no
know.
idea.
You're fucked.
I just play jacks now.
All right.
They all have the same
Question number
stats.
1. What is the P+S of a Bane Warrior's War Axe?
11.
Wow, there was. Oh, that was you. 11. Okay, yeah. I had like you were like it sounded like George.
11.
You're Bing Bong now.
Bing bong 11.
There you go. Good. Question number 2. What is the name of the weapon attachment for the Winter Guard?
Rocketeers.
It is Rocketeers. Question number 3. What is Selena Rafal's defense? Matt.
14.
It is 14. Matt is winning.
Too damn high?
Question number 4. Too damn high. What is the attack damage of a Stormlance's Electro Lance when charging? Matt.
15.
Yes, it is 15. So it's actually like technically 13 plus 2 die 6 plus 2 because that's added after, but I'm giving you 15. All
Sounds
right.
like a lot of math.
Question number 5. What can you attach Jonas Murdoch to? Matt.
Murdoch attaches to any mercenary unit that will work for Signar.
There's one more very important point. I'm going to give you half a point because you did not get it needs to be small or medium based.
Oh, that's right.
Not that there's that many large based units out there, but anyway.
There's a few.
Cavalry.
Yeah. Question number 6. What is the range on a Pharaoh Commando's grenade? Matt.
6.
Yes, it is. 6. Question number 7. Who is Proteus bonded to? Matt.
Apollonia.
Yeah, it is Apollonia. Question number 8. A Venerator officer has granted ability what?
Tactics?
Combined arms is the answer I was looking for. Combined arms. Question number 9.
I just wanted to say something.
Grail 1, and because there's only one. Grail gives tactician to what type of model? Matt.
Wolfsworn.
It is? Wow. God.
Jesus Christ.
You could take Banky for and Mark Andre.
Now we know who is the third of the 4 for that competition.
Question number 10. This is your Minty Fresh question of the week. Not that Minty did it, I did it. And it's going to be wrong.
Is Minty still alive?
Yes, he is. I've spoken to him recently.
Really?
Yeah.
All right. So I tried to make this
I was
complicated.
worried. I reached out.
I tried to make this complicated, which means it's going to be wrong somehow. What is Gallant's Deaf and Arm while under Calamity cast by an enemy warlock?
Matt.
Incorrect.
It can't be targeted by spells.
That is correct, ladies and gentlemen. You are... Damn it. I can't even trick question him. Tonight's winner is... Matt McSpring. Ladies and gentlemen, let's give a hand to Matt McSpring. Hey.
Congratulations, Matt McLakes.
All right, and Maelstrom will keep an eye on what's going on in the chat to see who.
Nothing.
Nobody answered anything. Bilak answered one question.
Let's
one
give
time.
it to Bilak.
Bilak, you're the winner. You're the wiener. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we just got to do some upkeep for this evening. Don't forget,
wiener.
first off, Trollbud Scrum is not going to be happening tonight. They're taking a night off. Damn it! But make sure you do subscribe to both the Muse on Minis Network and the Moose Machine Network, because that's where you get our podcast. That's where you can watch all kinds of live shows 24/7, because that's back going. That's happening.
Yeah, it is.
To continue on our YouTube channel, you can now find all of the events that happened at the SOO, with only one small edit for my stupidity.
Well, I shouldn't say all of the events. There were a lot of events that happened at the zoo that we did not record.
Well, all of the Masters, Iron Gauntlet, that kind of thing. To continue right along, let's give a shout out to the Muse on Minis Network. We're working right now with James Craig's school to get him all the tokens he needs for several groups of Guild Ball.
Yeah, they're moving on to Guild Ball. Yeah.
They're going to play Guild Ball this year, so we're working with
awesome.
Muse on Minis. So I want to give a shout out to Muse on Minis for getting involved in that. That's super cool.
great.
We'd like it when we get more kids feeling like it's cool to play miniature games.
Yep.
If you are going to buy minis,
There's a good place to do it in Ottawa.
go check it out.
Place that is running a tournament this weekend.
They're doing it right this weekend.
A tournament.
Wizards Tower is our local gaming store. That's where we go. That's where we buy our stuff. Although I haven't bought any stuff in a while, but that's
I
probably
bought a
not-
house. That's the end of my stuff for a
I
while.
had to do a giant insurance claim. So.
Yeah.
But you're going to be going to that tournament this weekend. Are you?
I'm
not?
running that tournament.
You're running that tournament.
Yes, I
So
am.
you're going to do some live streaming from there. So we'll
Matt's going to be at the tournament, so if you,
Ooh, yeah.
Is there going to be a stream at that tournament, George?
I doubt it.
We could
Why?
set
Unless
up
one
your
of you
phone.
mooks is
Can't we
coming.
just
put your phone?
Just put-
So I want to watch
just-
I want to watch
yeah.
phone view. George's phone view.
You want to hear the worst audio known to man?
That's fine.
Sure.
Yeah, I'm in.
Well, maybe I will stream.
Hook me up.
Yeah.
I want to watch.
I just like
will
to
watch
watch.
that tournament. I just like to watch.
Oh my god! Oh, that's not right.
It's not awkward.
Matt, thanks so much for coming on the show.
Why is the table getting higher?
This is one of those. It's one of those things where Matt tunes into our show so regularly and gives us feedback and helps us out at the SOO that it seems silly not to have Matt on the show. So unfortunately,
We'll have
you're
him back
going to have to
again
do
soon.
this again.
Yeah, it's going to be horrible.
Yeah,
And
but
what's
you're not
even
allowed
worse,
to
he had-
participate in the lightning round next time.
He had insight and crap.
Yeah, what's up with that?
What? Yeah, you were supposed to just be like, I don't know, I'm just a fool like you guys.
Yeah.
No, we can't do that. Somebody has to know what they're talking about because it
No.
ain't us.
No. Sometimes there could be four fools.
So before we go, we should mention that Battle for Breath ends this Saturday. You need to get your donations in, get those tickets so you can win an awesome, amazing prize. Maybe a Pillar of
There's a
Halak,
lot of amazing.
Or those painted models,
which
Oh my
already
God.
has several people's blood on it.
It does have a head count already.
I also want to mention that I did get my models in for the Nova Foundation this week,
Nice.
and there'll
Excellent.
be a bunch more. So James and I will both be spamming all the crap out of that.
Anytime you
coming up.
mix War Machine with charity, it tends to go really well.
Well, there's a few of us that have some money in our pockets that travel around the world to go to cons and stuff.
Who's that?
Tom Guan.
Oh, Tom Guan. Yeah.
Mostly Tom Watt.
Mostly Tom Guan.
Yes.
So last but not least, George, before we go tonight, you do have a tournament coming up at the Wizards Tower, but I'm going to give you a chance to pimp some of the other tournaments that are going on
We've got
in our area.
tournament just this Sunday at the Tower, and then next month we have the grand opening tournament at Out of the Box, which is looking really great, and then after that, Capital City Bloodbath. So get
When
your
is Capital
tickets.
City Bloodbath,
End
George?
of August.
And yeah. Yes. It is actually at the end of August. Thank you. And
I'm useful.
Bing bong.
It's going to. It is going to be amazing.
That's what she said.
All right, last but not least, make sure you are adding your games to your Battle Reporter. They now have all the apps you need to do such.
WMHBattleReporter.com.
Good job.
.com.
Damn, you should do that every time. All right,
We'll just record that.
George, hit that closing button. Everybody be quiet. Dice down. Moose Machine and This Death Clock Has 60 Minutes is a proud part of the Muse on Minis Network. Podcasts go online every Thursday morning. You can watch the show live every Wednesday night at 8 p.m. Eastern on Twitch and keep in touch with us on our Facebook page. Just Google Moose Machine. If you can't find us, you're doing the internet wrong.